When I was getting ready for this week's video, the topic of potential kept coming back to me over and over again. And I know you probably think you've heard it all before, but I'm going to invite you to go deeper because sometimes when we're not in our potential, we don't realize what the impact is to ourselves personally, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about life. But when we're not in potential, sometimes it's really subtle and we don't even know that we're not in our potential. And one of the reasons that we sometimes don't even look at that is because either A, we assume we are and don't really give it much thought, or B, we have told ourselves that we think it's too hard and so we don't live into it, we ignore it. So this week we're going to talk about potential and what the opposite of that is so that you can get a deeper look into what it looks like to be in your potential and why it matters. And we'll also talk about, at the end of this video, we'll also talk about something you can do that's really simple to get started so you can move more fully into your potential. The first thing you want to do obviously is expand your awareness, which is why you are watching this video. So welcome to this week's message. Hi, my name is Elari Onawa. If you don't know me, if we haven't met yet, I am a life on purpose coach, and I've been doing that since 2003 after 20 years in corporate leadership positions. And I'm also the author of Just Believe, How Faith in Yourself shifts everything. So let's talk about potential. And the opposite of potential, which is what most people really don't think about or talk about, is problem. So you have problem and then you have potential. So let's do a comparison so we can see what the difference is. So how do you know if you're focused and moving toward and amplifying the problem, or if you're moving toward and amplifying potential? Well, problem feels like frustration. Have you ever felt frustrated? Me too. Okay. So problem feels like frustration and potential feels like freedom. So if we feel free, if we feel like we are expansive and we're in the moment, we're feeling free and happy, we're in potential. If we're feeling frustrated, we're amplifying the problem. We see ourselves as smaller than the problem. We're making something a problem that may not even be a problem. So your emotions always tell you where you're heading, if you're in problem or potential. So let's look at another common indicator to tell you whether you're focused in problem or potential. Problem is settling. Now, this is very subtle, and it's, I think, more detrimental than amplifying the problem, because at least if we amplify the problem, it gets painful enough we do something about it, right? But when we settle, we're basically saying to the universe, I'm okay with this problem. Just, I don't care. Now, when we're settling, that's different than releasing and letting go. When we're settling, the vibration that we are emitting is resignation, is a feeling of resignation, and that's just how life is, and kind of like that life is difficult, life is hard energy. That's settling. So we can settle in our work we don't like, we can settle in relationships and not create things that we really want. So when we're in that settling energy, we're in problem, we're not in potential, because when we're in potential, we're aware. We're actually aware, and we're aware of what we want, and we're cultivating that. When we're in potential, we're cultivating freedom, and we're cultivating awareness of what we want. And settling, we've stopped doing that. See the difference? So people can live their whole lives in settling instead of consciously or being on purpose and consciously choosing and being aware of what you want. So the third thing is low energy. So low energy shows up as, I don't feel like getting out of bed in the morning. You feel like you're tired all the time. You've got to amp yourself up with caffeine or other stimulants. And that is an indicator that you're focused on problem rather than potential. When you're in potential, you're enthusiastic, you're excited, you're feeling joy, you're moving. There's a desire to move. You know, if you're in that low energy, you're not going to feel like moving or taking action. So if you're stuck, you might want to look at, am I in problem or am I in potential? Let's look at number 4. 4 is cycles of giving up. If you're in problem, you might experience those cycles of starting and then giving up. And that is an indication that something has happened that you've labeled as a problem, and it might be labeled as a big problem, and therefore you're making the problem bigger than you are. So you're focusing on the problem so much that it's become so big that you feel it's insurmountable. But when you're in potential, you are not in cycles of giving up. You're making steady progress forward. You're enthusiastic. Something comes up and you're asking yourself questions like, okay, well, what do I want to do? You're staying focused on your vision, you're having fun, you're in play. All of those are indicators that you are in potential. And when you're in potential, we all know that life just works, that you're having fun, that you're coming here and you're creating as you intended it to be. So let's look at the final, indicators that help you see whether you're in problem or potential. And the 5th one is burnout. So burnout is related to low energy, and that low energy is a beginning symptom that, if not addressed, it becomes burnout. So think of burnout as low energy amplified. So it's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion that's caused by excessive and prolonged stress. Cycles of you just don't care anymore, and then you have to ramp yourself up. So with burnout, you just want to just let everything go away, and you might even be thinking about quitting your day job. It doesn't even matter if there's anything lined up, or walking away from your business, because that is an indication that you're working too hard, and working too hard is also an indicator that you are in problem rather than potential. And what we all want to remember and realize is that if we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or emotionally drained, those are all indicators that we are doing something to ourselves that is creating that state of feeling like no matter what we do, it's never enough. And it's not necessarily about the outer condition. So what often happens with people that have cycles of burnout, they move into a new environment and recreate that state of being. And that's one of the reasons, the many reasons that I do what I do, is because any of these symptoms or ways of staying in the problem can be subtle sometimes, and unless we realize what's really underneath it and creating it, we tend to recreate it over and over again. So that's one of the reasons why I am such a powerful resource, is because I can help you create a breakthrough in any of these areas. So I will leave a link to additional support if you're drawn to one-on-one coaching. I'll leave that as a resource in the video link. So what does potential feel like? It feels like ease. It feels like grace. It feels like you're partnering with the universe and you're just letting the magic happen. So you're having a great time. You're working toward a vision. Even if that vision gets bigger and it morphs, you're in play. You're creating as you're designed to do. When you stop creating because you're in problem, then your energy drops, will naturally drop, because you're out of sync, you're out of harmony with who you truly are. So something to remember, with potential is, first you have to be aware, am I in problem or am I in potential? And then second, you need to make a choice. Do I want to be in potential or do I want to be in the problem? Because when you're in potential, guess what happens? Life works. You're having fun, you're playing. The other thing that happens is when you're in potential, you're asking better questions. Instead of saying, oh, look at the problem, or or, oh, I hate it when that happens, which is problem. When you're in potential, you're saying, okay, how can I play with this? What's the message? Who do I want to be in this situation? How can I rise above it? Or is this a gift in disguise? So you're in potential, you're asking yourself better questions than you are when you're in the problem, because problem just keeps perpetuating the problem, right? When you're in potential, you don't let outside circumstances or current conditions stop you from creating. You stay in the game, you stay in the vision, and you're having fun. So this week, I invite you to be aware and notice whether you're in problem or whether you're in potential. And in that moment, when you notice that, you make a choice about what you really want to cultivate. And of course, if you need additional assistance, I would love to be there to help you along the way, to help you build up that potential. And you can always do that by booking a session with me. I will leave a link in the resources below this video. And if you got something valuable out of this video, use it. Bring it into your awareness. Let it be present throughout the day. And please also comment, say yes, give me a thumbs up. Yes, this is awesome. Yes, tell me what you received out of watching this video. When you subscribe, when you interact, that tells YouTube that this content is valuable and therefore they share it with other people. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.